Imagine a world of power, intrigue, and opulence. At its heart stands a woman, Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt. Born into the dynasty of Greek origin, Cleopatra's early life was a dance with destiny. She was a clever and curious child, characteristics that would shape her rule and the future of Egypt. Ascending to the throne at the tender age of 18, Cleopatra was far more than a mere figurehead. She was an intoxicating mix of intelligence and allure, a woman who knew her worth and the power she possessed. Her political savvy was exceptional. Her strategies to maintain her grip on Egypt were nothing short of brilliant. As a scholar, diplomat, naval commander, and linguist, she embodied a multifaceted personality. Bravely navigating the perilous waters of politics and power, she was unafraid to make audacious decisions. A lady of intellect and charm, Cleopatra, a significant figure from the Greek-origin Ptolemaic dynasty, was destined to imprint a lasting mark on history. In a world dominated by men, Cleopatra held her own, wielding her political acumen to retain power in Egypt. But she was far from a mere puppet queen. Cleopatra was a shrewd and strategic leader, who knew the importance of alliances in a world fraught with political intrigue. She realized that the key to safeguarding Egypt's independence lay in the heart of Rome. Hence, she built alliances with two of Rome's most formidable men, Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. While these were astute political alliances crucial in a grand game of thrones, it is essential to note that they were also deeply personal, involving romantic relationships. She bore Caesar a son, Caesarion, securing a vital connection to Rome. Upon Caesar's assassination, Cleopatra allied herself with Mark Antony, Rome's next man of power. Together, they formed a political and military alliance that reigned over the eastern Mediterranean. However, these alliances were not without their risks. They incited the wrath of Rome, particularly from Octavian, Caesar's adopted son, and Antony's political rival. Yet, Cleopatra sailed these treacherous waters with adeptness, always prioritizing Egypt's interests. Her relationships with Caesar and Antony were not just strategic moves, they were also steeped in love and romance. Cleopatra leveraged these alliances to fortify Egypt's power and safeguard its independence during a time of Roman expansion. Her diplomatic prowess and personal relationships with these men allowed Cleopatra to keep Egypt independent during a period of Roman expansion. Under Cleopatra's reign, Egypt invigorated its cultural and architectural identity. This was an era when Cleopatra, not just a queen but a visionary, propelled Egypt a golden age. She was a scholar, fluent in 9 languages and well-versed in mathematics and astronomy. Her intellectual prowess fostered an environment where arts and sciences flourished. The architectural wonders of her time, including the famous Lighthouse of Alexandria and the Grand Library of Alexandria, stood as testament to the city's magnificence. These developments were more than just a display of opulence, they were a strategic vision to strengthen her kingdom and inspire her people. Every stone, every scroll, every artistic creation was a piece of the puzzle that was Cleopatra's Egypt. This era of prosperity would forever etch her name in the annals of history. The Battle of Actium, a pivotal moment in history, marked the decline of Cleopatra's power. On September 2nd in the year 31 BC, Cleopatra and her ally, Mark Antony, found themselves locked in a fierce naval combat against Octavian's forces off the western coast of Greece. This was no ordinary battle. It was a struggle for control over the future direction of the Roman Empire. Cleopatra and Antony's combined forces were formidable, but they were up against the military might of Rome, bolstered by the strategic genius of Octavian's right-hand man, Agrippa. The battle raged, and ultimately, Cleopatra and Antony were defeated, forced to flee back to Egypt. This defeat marked a significant downturn in Cleopatra's influence and power. The fallout was swift and severe. Rome, now under Octavian's rule, was ascendant. Egypt, once a formidable power, was reduced to a province of the Roman Empire. The Battle of Actium was a turning point, signaling the end of Cleopatra's reign and the rise of Roman power. Cleopatra, a woman of power and ambition, left an enduring legacy that continues to fascinate us today. She was more than a queen, more than a political figurehead. Cleopatra was a force of nature that shaped the world as we know it. Her influence extends far beyond the borders of ancient Egypt. Her life, filled with political intrigue, romance, and tragedy, has inspired countless works. Shakespeare's immortal play, Antony and Cleopatra, paints her as a tragic heroine, and the epic Hollywood film Cleopatra, starring Elizabeth Taylor, offers a grandiose depiction of her story. Over time, the representation of Cleopatra has evolved considerably, reflecting the changing values and interests of different eras. In the early 20th century, during the silent film era, she was often portrayed as an exotic femme fatale, a reflection of the Orientalism prevalent at that time. In contrast, the epic 1963 Hollywood film Cleopatra, with its emphasis on the opulence of her reign, mirrors the wealth and glamour that characterized the post-war era. Today, in the digital age, there's a renewed focus on her political acumen and leadership skills, resonating with our contemporary emphasis on strong, independent female figures. Cleopatra's reign was also an era of cultural and architectural prosperity. The buildings erected during her rule, while not standing the test of time, were said to be marvels of architecture. In literature, her story has been chronicled, dramatized, and from the silent film era to the digital age, her life and reign have been depicted in countless movies and series. Despite the passage of over 2,000 years, the impact of Cleopatra's rule is still felt today. From the sands of Egypt to the silver screen, Cleopatra's legacy lives on, a testament to her remarkable life. Despite her enduring legacy, Cleopatra's reign came to a tragic end. Her death marked the end of an era, the fall of the Ptolemaic kingdom and the rise of Rome. Tradition tells us that Cleopatra chose to end her life in a manner as dramatic as her reign, by the bite of an asp, a symbol of divine royalty. This act of defiance, a refusal to be paraded in Rome as a trophy of war, has been immortalized in art and literature, adding yet another layer to her legend. The death of Cleopatra marked the end of the Ptolemaic rule in Egypt. Her son Caesarion was declared pharaoh, but his reign was short-lived. Rome, under the leadership of Octavian, took control of Egypt, reducing it to a province of the vast Roman Empire. The era of independent Egyptian rule was over, and the age of Rome had begun. Cleopatra's death, though tragic, was as dramatic as her life, marking the end of the Ptolemaic kingdom and the rise of Rome. The echoes of her fall continue to reverberate through time, a poignant reminder of the shifting sands of history. As we conclude this voyage across time with Cleopatra, the allure of more historical adventures beckons. Plunge further into the chronicles of antiquity with us. Join Era Insights, and become a companion in our timeless journey. Remember to tap the notification bell to remain abreast with our newest ventures, and share your musings and contemplations in the comments section. Together we can keep disentangling the enigmas of our collective legacy.